class.
Are they for you?
No, I don't think so. No, no, no.
But this isn't the one that I made, Jamie. This is the one that Jen made. The ACC, the Google Drive.
Oh, alright.
We'll give it just a couple more minutes. You'll have plenty of time to get here.
I love hearing all the progress of your contacting them.
Okay, so I just sent you the.
It just
Google
kept
Drive
getting
that
paused.
I know. I'm so
Trying to
glad.
create the one that you and I talked about.
Really glad.
Yeah, me too.
Backwards to everybody.
Should we check in with Patrick? I'm sure he's on his way.
Yeah, if you could, I'd appreciate that.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Have Apron will travel?
I just got done cooking for our community. I cook every fourth, third Tuesday for the community meals. That's why it's hard for me. I got down early. No, is it community? You've never heard about community meals? Oh, no, I haven't. Oh.
I'm thinking, but he didn't respond to that one message I sent
And
you.
you cook for
So,
the.
He did.
yeah.
He replied last
And then
night.
Oh, did he?
food
Yeah.
comes mostly from the food bank or from donations. Tonight was chicken enchiladas and beans and gravy.
Is that one open for you?
Pardon me? No, we're just the fourth Tuesday. Actually, there's a lot of people that cook, but you only cook one night a month.
Okay.
So then you don't burn people.
Let me tweak it a little bit, because I don't know
There's something that's done.
what Jen, because it's all, I think it's all under Jen.
Yes, this
She's
is
the
our
one who
Tuesday.
created it,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is our
So I'll
Tuesday.
play with it and see what I can do.
Are you needing to access the?
Oh, no, I was just sending, so I have access to it, but I was
Oh.
sending it to Jamie.
Oh.
And then she's, it's asking her to sign into Google, so I don't know.
He might just be running late. So.
All right, let's go ahead and get started then. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. All right, so we're going to go ahead and any visitors that would like to address the commission, feel free to come up to the podium, and you have about 5 minutes. And go eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Or rock, paper, scissors. Rock it here.
Hello. My name is Joan Youngberg, and I am a member of the Columbia Art Guild and a longtime resident of St. Helens. I also was in charge of the This Is Us St. Helens Community Art Project last year. And we just thought that that was so much fun, we should do something else. And we procured, and I'm not here to ask for any money of any kind, because we got 2 grants, one from the Arts and Cultural, the 4 Cs, and one from the Oregon Trust. I can't, sometimes there's too many acronyms, but we have plenty of money. But I do come here tonight to ask for your support. It is called Flagship Columbia County, and this time we are trying to reach out beyond the St. Helens area into the county. I am trying to have at least one or two events in each city in Columbia County, and we are doing what is called, why it's called Flagship Columbia County is we're making flags. And these are some that I have gotten already. We've already started. And I very hastily put these together this afternoon because I wanted you to see there is two ends to this bad boy. Oh, and it threaded through my purse. So let's try that again. There you go. And this is what,
Oh, wow.
yeah, tighten it up there. And so I'm working on the grommet part of it, but this is what it would look like.
Oh, wow.
And our hope is that we will thread them through the trees and the light poles out here by mid-June this year. So I've had a few events. I have the money. It is art. I'm just asking for your support, you know, good words, encouragement, come and see it, whatever.
So, go ahead, sorry.
Yes, questions? This is Tyvek.
Okay.
And Tyvek is actually a building material that they use to wrap a house. It's like a plastic paper is what it really is. And this is just acrylic paint on it, which has a great history of adhering to Tyvek. Very inexpensive material. I haven't even gone through my leftovers from last year's project as far as paint. And this is, you know, a little spendy, but it'll make for a good presentation and it'll hold up well. So
How about rain?
It'll hold up. I know. I was skeptical too, and I tested it myself, and I belong to an art group in Portland that has also tested it extensively. So I feel solid that it will not.
How are you getting the flags, or like who's making the flags?
I bought a roll
Okay.
of 3 foot by. Oh, you're talking about the cutout flags?
Yeah, like who's painting, who's making the art?
Anybody in the community. Last year, it was I had to knock on every door. This year, people kind of understand what I'm trying to do. People follow me on Facebook and have seen the culmination of the This Is Us St. Helens, which is up at the chamber. If you haven't seen it, it's on semi-permanent display up there, and so it's a little easier. I'm doing less private events because last year I would go anywhere just to get 10 houses, you know. But this year, it's really going to kind of be a blitz, and I'm getting the schedule together now. I've already done a few, but it's going to be from about mid-April till the end of May. And I've already, I talked to Margaret. We're going to try and do one at the library on April 13th. I almost remembered that. I am at Earth Day in Corvallis. I've already got one scheduled for Vernonia. So I've got several schools done, but it's more a bigger event where I can really get a good volume, and I'm not, you know, chasing. Pardon me? Earth Day in Scappoose. Yes, that is April 20. Yeah, and so I will be there. I will do private events. I'm not saying I won't if you chase me down. I am doing a mental health on May 8th. They called me and wanted to do it. So, yeah, so I'm hoping,
When you
yes.
sit down with the people, what is it that you ask them to illustrate?
I do tell them that this piece of art will be much more at a distance. You will not see, the houses are really neat to look at because you're up close and personal. These are going to be 12 to 14 feet up in the air. So just bright and colorful is really what I'd like. The other day I did it with, I don't have one on here, I did it with a group of developmentally disabled people at Spark in the community. And I just had them, because I give it to them stretched out. So you have to remember that both sides are going to present differently. But I just had them put some dots on there, and they folded it over and went like this and folded it out, and it was beautiful. So there's lots of ways to go at it. Yeah. I've also found that working with really small children with this kind of is a little tough. So we're working on getting some backgrounds, nice colorful backgrounds, and I've gotten some permanent markers so they can embellish it any way they want. Yeah, that's a little different than last time, but you don't learn really kind of how it is until you do it with a large group. So, yeah.
Well, what I'd like to suggest is if you can get us the list of dates where you're going to be doing the big,
That by the 31st, that's my own personal deadline. By the end of this month, they will all be up and on the This Is Us St. Helens community Facebook page has been changed to Flagship Columbia County, which I didn't even know you could do. You can do that once every 30 days, change the name of your. So all those people that supported the last project are hearing about this project already. And I am going to actually make flyers that say exactly where everything is and get those around to people that are interested in figuring out where to participate.
So I was going to say, I mean, amongst ourselves, we'll obviously
Yeah, you can
share
promote it that, yeah.
But now with how we're meeting every other month, I want to make sure that the information you get to us, we get it out in this capacity.
Yeah.
And so where March, April, so we won't meet again until May.
Yeah.
So we can discuss it and share in the community announcement section
Yeah.
then as well, like a reminder.
Yeah. I do have scheduled at Running Dog June 1st, and the final one will be at Starbucks June 3rd,
Okay.
which coincidentally is my last day of work there.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, so I figured why not do the end of both on the same day? Won't that be nice?
Well, that's a good day.
I work at
Celebration.
Starbucks. I have for about, it's almost 12 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Wow.
So
When is the projected date?
I need to talk to the city, or actually to the county, because the county owns this park. Last time they made me go in front of the county commissioners, but I don't know if they'll make me do that. I'm more than willing to do that. But now that I'm kind of we're kind of a known entity, and that we're going to follow through on what we say we're going to do, and it's a community thing. I mean, if they want 1,500 people to be disappointed that their flag isn't up there, then maybe they'll say no to me. I don't know. But I do think it'll be a great addition to what we've got going on down here in the summer months. I'm hoping to have it up mid-June.
Mid-June?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But
Sounds
like
good.
I said, I have not started the paperwork.
Okay.
That's okay.
So do we need to make a motion to support it?
I don't think so, because she's not asking for any money, or she's just asking for moral support.
Well, and I want to be able to say that the Arts and Cultural Commission of St. Helens supports. Yeah, just
And does it?
Yeah.
yeah. I think we went through this last time too, because I originally didn't ask for money last time either.
Yeah. So
But yeah,
Is there a formal process to, like a paperwork that you have to apply?
No.
Kind of like we talked about the libraries.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
the Columbia Art Guild is supporting it, and they are a 501(c)(3). That's how we got the grants. Da, 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 da.
They'll have their own rules and requirements. Now, if the art guild wanted to donate the flags when it was done to the city, then we would just do a donation.
Have to do.
Oh, okay.
But it's not ours, it's theirs.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as far as that goes, it will come down obviously before the Great Pumpkin arrives. But I've also talked to other cities to see if maybe Rainier doesn't want to put it in their front and center, or Vernonia, or wherever, because it's really a countywide thing. So I don't have any takers yet, but and it will be in 12 flag lengths.
Okay.
So hopefully to store it and to untangle it won't be too crazy. Yeah.
Well,
So,
are
yeah.
we in agreement that we'd like to support Joan and this new flagship project?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, come paint with me.
Anybody else?
Ask anything? Talk about anything?
gonna go ahead and move on to the approval of January and February minutes. If you all take a quick look.
All right. Yes, I will do that. All right, thank you. Have a nice evening.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, ayes have it. All right, now let's go ahead and move on to the fiscal. Here we go. So this is gonna be like really, really interesting to look at. While we're on the subject of the fiscal report, if you recall, Jen had been trying to coordinate one of our meetings where Matt could come in and talk with us. Would you all like to have him do that for our May meeting? Do a little mini training. And then he is always open to anybody wanting to do a little one-on-one. So if there's still some confusion or if you'd like a little more, or you have some more questions, and you're able to have us sit down with him and he'll be able to explain it a little bit better. Like I always tell Matt, I'm going to set that appointment up with you and I'm going to bring a red crayon because, yeah, this is fun. So,
Fiscal report this
Uh-huh.
year, since the audit's been completed,
okay,
he did update the beginning fund balance,
okay.
which is highlighted on that first page.
Mhm.
So the start of June, the end of June 2018 rolling into July, the fund balance started with $7,700.
Okay. So this is what we currently have then.
That's what it started with, and then you
Okay.
have all your expenses so far year to date.
Okay.
And then any donations also are interactive.
Okay. I was,
Then the only new expense since you last reviewed it was just change that county local
Okay.
library.
So is our ending balance the 1,679?
what was the 700 for the 4-H association?
That was
That was
the
last year.
fair.
The fair? Okay. Oh, was that when we made the baskets? I'm trying to remember, sorry.
Yeah. So what you need to do on here, because we're rolling, you need to take your starting fund balance and add your credits this period to it, then fiscal year.
Did you get your question answered?
No, not yet.
Why did we have two Bemis printings?
One was
dated
for
12
the cards, and then one was for the envelopes. I
Okay.
think that's what that was for.
Okay. Yeah, I figured the 118 was the card, but I
broad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that way, as you see fit, as a commission see things and fund it,
Mhm.
you have it and it's not broken down into all these things.
Yeah.
So basically just gonna roll it all over it.
I think that's gonna make it easier to understand this too. Okay, so yeah, started with seven, advertisement, That's what it looks like, if I'm understanding this. So. We have 1679, and then after the trash can from last year, it left us with 880.
And then the cards.
Cards, 19.
So we're in the negative 116.
That's kind of how I'm understanding it, yeah.
I think that's a positive. It's weird with the budget. I think it's a positive and it's not like an overdrawn.
Okay.
Now
Okay.
I think it's, you're in the, you're good with
Okay.
that balance. And it's because it has your projected money spent.
Oh,
okay.
okay, that
So it
would
has
make
money-
sense.
Your actual money spent, your
Yeah.
actual money received plus what projected.
Okay.
And what you had budgeted in the prior fiscal year. So
Yeah, okay.
I don't think we've spent any money on
Mm-mm.
maintenance. We probably are, the money budgeted for that.
Mm-hmm.
When does that typically get taken out, the 500 for the maintenance?
It won't
It
unless
won't.
you use it.
Okay,
That's just kind of what the commission has set aside and budgeted for.
okay. Okay. Learning a little bit more.
Calendar determining when art needs to be checked for maintenance and that would be deducted?
So my understanding is in the past, there was somebody from the city who was on the commission, that also worked with maintaining the art. That was their connection. We haven't had one for quite some time. And so I don't know, in all honesty, when the last time the artwork has been maintained. And so it is now being discussed, and that's what these guys are. This sheet here is so we can go ahead and do an inventory and see what needs to be fixed, any cleaning. I do know that the banner coming down Old Portland Road, that really nice funky curve, where you see that big green little area, that banner, the sun broke. It's broken off. So I need to find out, and that's going to involve some research. I believe we have to reach out to the original artist to get.
I talked,
Oh, okay.
Roger has it on his maintenance list.
Oh, okay.
He's the maintenance person for the city.
Okay.
So that one, for a long time, they didn't have access to a bucket truck, and then they got
Mhm.
access to one, but they didn't want to, be off the road on the soft ground
Yeah.
during the wet season. And then it got to be the dry season, and I don't know what happened.
Okay.
It's on his radar, but in the background.
Okay.
So that one he will take care of. The wire broke, that's all.
Yeah.
The little wire that's suspended.
Okay.
So don't worry about that one.
Okay.
We still need to approve. Which one? I don't think we approved them.
I know we still need to before we move on.
What was that?
We still need to approve this before we move on.
No, we just figured it was right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so, did you get all your questions answered? Okay, fantastic. Okay, so moving on, Kimberly, go ahead and please share with us any updates regarding the Little Library.
Okay. So it's kind of three aspects that I'm going to present in the little library section. The first one was I wanted to just bring up that the Friends of the Library, Lynn Petit, reached out to me earlier this month. So she said that they were planning on installing a library at the Walnut Tree Park. So they just wanted to make sure that the Arts Commission didn't have plans to install in that park. So after some further research, I didn't know if she had to go through the Arts Commission, so I was able to connect with Margaret, who informed me that if somebody is doing or donating a piece to the city on public property, we have a form that's actually called the Application for Placement of Donated Items on Public Property.
Okay.
So I reached back out to her with that form, but that's not something that would go through the Arts Commission. I basically just told her that we don't have any plans to install in that park.
Okay.
So there's that. And then the second piece I wanted to bring up is the updates to Thomas's Cat in the Hat Library theme. So he did fill out the same form, the application for placement of donated items on public property. So he went through that process. So this needs approval. And again, I'm going to abstain from the vote, but I would like to ask that this project is included in the overall Little Free Libraries project that I'm doing with the high school.
Okay.
And there's a handout here.
So
It's included
In
in
the-
the other thing just because it's also a library? Or
Yes, with support of the Arts Commission.
So, to catch you up, the Little Free Library project was a project that Kimberly brought to the commission, and so the idea was to bring to the St. Helens community a registered little free library. And so she worked with the local high school to have them build the library for her, and it is now at, please say the name of the park?
Great Cliffs.
Thank you. And it has been registered, so it's showing up on the Little Free Library website. So St. Helens is a pin on their map now. But what that had done is it had actually created a trickle effect in the community, and so her husband wanted to do a Little Free Library as well. And so that's what you're seeing in
That's
front of you today. It was on his own accord, nothing to do with the ACC, but he is donating it to the ACC. And so at our previous meeting, when it was brought up, the concern was the art. He did that hand by hand, and so we wanted to make sure that there weren't going to be any copyright, trademark, all that fun legal stuff. And so he did follow up and provided us information, and so I also reached out to the organization based out in California that did a whole, 5 or 6
Dr. Seuss
themed little libraries. And so I reached out to that organization, and he explained to me how they were able to get, or were able to do the little libraries without having to go through the copyright process and all that. And he, in fact, even went one step further, and he reached out to the Dr. Seuss Foundation, and they were
So-
like, oh my God.
Yeah, we
that is
found
so
it was okay with the Fair Use Act. So,
the little bridge
yeah,
project
there
that
was,
we use,
so so he did reach out to Dr. Seuss Enterprises, and they got back saying that they were so excited about this library. And their only criteria is that when it's installed, we sent them pictures, and they would be able to promote
I
it
love that.
on their website and social media, so St. Helens would be featured there.
I know, right?
But yeah, that's the update from the last meeting, that, that's why we weren't able to vote on it last month. So he did that requirements, so we were able to overcome that, and then he also filled out this new form. And there is a place here on the second page, so I guess this is the master copy he gave me, but I'll just pass this around. I don't know who fills this out, but it has a section for the Arts Commission that we can approve it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this to the Parks Commission, and then if we do, so.
Okay.
And I've already submitted a copy of this to the city.
Okay, so this is new to me, so,
I just wanted to add a little something there. Kim was talking about the conversation with the other group that wanted to do one in Walnut Tree Park. And because of the very nature of these little free libraries,
I mean, anybody could create one and ask to put it in a park or on public property somewhere else. And it wouldn't necessarily have to go through the Arts Commission. And so, in order to answer Kim's concern is like, why would some need to go through a public hearing with the Arts Commission and others go directly to the Parks Commission for approval? And so we discussed it in the city council meeting, and they decided that the primary purpose of these libraries are as functioning as a, as a library, and that if they have artistic elements, fine, but that isn't a requirement. So they wanted to simplify the process by just creating, taking advantage of this application for donated property. And this was something that was created in 2010 by the previous Public Works Director, and it's on the city site under forms, and it's listed alphabetically, so you find it under D for donated. And it has, when you go to that site, it has the resolution that describes how this process is used. So I asked today in the supervisors meeting, who determines, the path of acceptance? Because this just shows all the possibilities of people that could sign off on a project, and it doesn't really say, and who it needs to go to. So I was thinking if something showed up on your desk or at the front desk of City Hall, what would they do? And they said, because you want to place these in the parks, the first step would be getting sign off from the Parks Commission. And so, well, my understanding is that the commission would vote on it, and if it's whoever their representative is, I guess. Well, I think the approval is just based on how the vote happens, so I don't think it's as important as to who signs off on it as that the commission did or did not approve it. And I think from there, it goes to anybody else who may have a concern. The head of engineering's point was, if you're going to dig a hole to mount something, engineering may need to look to make sure there's not a line in the ground or something like that. So it unfortunately doesn't have a path detailed for every possible kind of project, but because you want to place something in the parks, they just said parks is a place to start. And then ultimately the council has the final approval on placement of things. I think this came about because people were donating things to the city, and then there wasn't a clear delineation as to who was responsible for maintenance. And so something would be 10 years old and falling down, and nobody was going to step up and pay to have it maintained, but they didn't want to see the city take it down. And so the city, through this process, the city accepts ownership of something. And so when you donate it to the city, then it's theirs, and they could decide, a day from now or 10 years from now, they're going to take it down. But, so that's what this in part establishes, that once it's given to the city, they're responsible for the maintenance and the decision for what happens to it from that point forward. So we're not going to call Little Free Libraries an art object that has to have a public hearing.
So could we still include that project in the overall project that I'm working on?
You mean, does that prohibit you from doing them in the future?
Right, yeah. Well, I'm not planning on doing them in the future, so it's just the project that I'm working on now with the high school. Those are all through a partnership with the Arts Commission.
Right.
At the high
It doesn't threaten that relationship or that project at all. It's just that the process for approving them is different. Simplified, actually.
Yep, that was my plan, yeah.
So then at this point, I could fill in the section here and just, I would put my initials, or is that how?
One,
Take that offline.
Okay, great. Okay, so we'll do that.
Out of curiosity, does that mean that for each of the little libraries, where, are they going to be included at some point in the inventory that the Arts Council is responsible for? Is that going to be all of them, since this other one is going through, one of the Walnut Farms, going through a different channel, or are they still?
Yeah, I
being-
don't think
okay.
that one would be included in the ones that we include in this list.
We approve and
Right.
approve go on to
Yeah.
our list, and those are gonna be responsible for the ACC to upkeep. Okay.
well, are you talking about from the standpoint of the inventory to then create the map?
Well, I guess it's twofold, that there's math, but then there's also maintenance for future, because
Right.
this doesn't, they don't require a ton of maintenance, but they do require maintenance at some point, and so
Mhm.
who would be responsible financially at that point, is what I'm asking.
Right. I mean, that's the Arts and Cultural Commission is responsible for having budgeted dollars to handle the maintenance of their art, yes.
And would they want it on the map? Is that something that you
Well,
want on the map?
as an example, the first Little Free Library doesn't have any artistic elements at all. I wouldn't put that on a map and direct people to go look at that
Are you
piece of,
talking about the first one that's the
city
bench?
and the parks.
the Little Free Library that's in Grey Cliffs Park.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just a little brown house.
I thought it was considered art the way that it was built. Is that not what we're?
It was news to me when when we were talking about how the
Oh.
libraries are not considered art, so.
Oh. That's
So, I mean,
interesting.
the initial thing
Okay.
was that I thought the libraries would have artistic elements on it,
Yeah.
but this particular library was me exploring the process
Mhm.
and learning how placement goes and working
Okay.
with partnerships. So that's the third part of my conversation that I wanted to bring up with
Yeah,
the high school is building 2 more libraries, which they're
Yeah.
leaving plain.
okay.
So I wanted to bring that up later in the conversation about the, summer events and getting artists to do those libraries. So my original mindset was that the libraries would have artistic elements
Yeah.
and be painted.
I guess I was under the interpretation that they were considered, even this one, the first one, was considered an artistic element. And that's part of the reason why we were supporting it and
Yeah.
again, putting out there. To me, it seems the way that it was designed, the bench, everything, to me, it looks like it has an artistic component to it, for all intents and purposes. I mean, I would want to know that it's out there. I think for my interpretation of it, we're trying to include various artistic elements, put it that way. And, I mean, is it too late to change it, or is it something,
Well,
in culture, yeah.
Art and culture, so it
Mhm.
encompasses all of it, so I don't see it needs to be put on the map.
Yeah.
I guess you have to decide how the map is going to be used. If you were a visitor to the city and you picked up the glossy trifold map like we saw from the other cities, and you're going to trek around the city and see the art, I think what I would be inclined to do is really highlight the strongest pieces that the city has to offer. The gateway sculptures and the banners and the art benches and the other sculptures. I think at some point, there are some things at the library, but I'm not sure you want them on the map, just because I think maybe you diminish the impact of some of the bigger pieces if pretty soon the map is filled with every thing that's in the city. For instance, there's a wall hanging in the library, and there's a piece of mosaic glass hanging in a window. But I don't know that I would direct visitors to our city to come in and see those pieces. They enhance the library, but I'm not sure they're
Well, I think
tourist quality.
now that you're putting it that way, I mean, I would think that this one, because it's at Great Cliffs Park is newly renovated, and it's the first one that's registered for St. Helens. That one I would most definitely would like to see on the map, and then maybe we not include the other two, because they're just gonna be a continuation of what was already started.
Also, the mapping project
Mhm.
and what's considered good art are two separate movements.
I was gonna ask about that, yeah.
The library, all the one that the art commission is hosting, I would consider that as part of your art and culture inventory.
But just not
Decide
include
what-
them on the map.
Right, and that's, you guys can, you still wanna list it all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have that master list,
Yeah,
and then
totally.
you can get creative and work with the map designer.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
be strategic about it.
Yeah.
Maybe just have a list on the backside, but
Mhm.
again, two separate things. So I would say it is an art and culture piece that belongs to the commission, for that extent. But then as far as when they make the statement, it's not a piece of art that has to go through the formal process, because it's more of a cultural piece, versus a great big statue or a great big
Yeah.
painting. More pieces that are strictly art, those are gonna have to go through an approval process, like the public, and that is just a public hearing. So it's just a little meeting before your regular scheduled meeting to let people that live around there know, hey, we're gonna place this art piece here.
Okay.
Just as a little bit of a question, I wonder how the mapping is going to take into consideration last summer's mural on private property. Because it's significant for tourists, but it's on private property.
That might just be getting permission from the property owner to include it. Possibly, they already know what to do with map, it's within the city, it's not on city property. Again,
Yeah, maybe there's an asterisk.
Maybe there's an asterisk that says, cited on private property, supported,
Adjacent to public.
or supported by Arts and Cultural Commission. I mean, the trash cans are another one. I mean, they're not fixed, but they're all over.
Yeah.
Maybe a brochure makes some mention of them, that to be on the lookout for them, but
Yeah.
they're gonna be everywhere. So that's another one.
Okay.
So, do I have the support of the commission to include this library, so I can go to the Parks Commission?
Yes.
Thank you.
Just say
Do you know what's going on?
yes.
I think I've caught up.
Okay, so then we'll just take that offline. and
Okay,
get that
so
squared away.
park library, okay.
Little free library. Okay, so.
Oh, and just one thing, one more addition, sorry. So I was mentioning the high school is building 2 more, so I just wanted to quickly provide an update on
Okay.
that. So those should be done within the next couple weeks.
Okay, fantastic. All
you're
right.
wanting to present this, library to the park to be installed
At Campbell Park, yeah.
Okay. Quick question I do have for you. So they're gonna leave it blank, and, are they gonna be within budget this time? Okay.
They were. I'm still within
Oh,
budget.
okay,
Yeah, I'm still under budget. I believe, I'm keeping a spreadsheet, but I still have
Okay.
224 left in the original 400.
Fantastic. All right. Okay, so let's quickly talk about ACC vacant positions, and with that being said, I'd like to welcome our new commissioner, Carly. And so that leaves us with, I believe, 2 vacant spots. I did have someone, I don't want to say anything yet until it's definitive, but I did have someone tell me today that they are submitting an application. So hopefully by the next meeting, we will have 1 more commissioner, and then we'll just need another one, and then we should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Are we able to have more than 7, or is it just 7? Just 7, okay.
I mean, anyone can volunteer, and it's an easy as far as an assignment number, unless you change the report.
Okay. We're not gonna do that again.
I would like to invite Carly Franklin to introduce herself and tell us something about, us and the public, something about yourself and your interest in the Arts Commission.
All right. Yes, I'm Carly Franklin, and I think I've met everybody.
I'm Patrick.
Patrick, nice to meet you. Yeah, so I was interested in joining the commission because I mentioned to most everybody that I come from a background in performance art and in theater, and I have a high appreciation for the arts and what it can do for our community. I come from a community that was very driven by festivals and events that brought the whole community together, that were centered around art, and I see a lot of potential in St. Helens to have that same, very vibrant community, and I'd like to be a part of building that. And so that's why I wanted to be part of the commission.
And we
Welcome.
are excited to have you here. Excited to have
Yes.
been recruiting you for 2 years.
I
yeah, so if you guys know anybody who you feel would be a great asset to this commission, remember, they do not have to be an artist. I think there is that misconception that in order to be part of anything artistic, you have to have some artistic, what's the word I'm looking for? Experience, ability, thank you.
You
But
don't
if you
even
take a
have
look-
to be 18. You can be a young person and sit right here in this empty chair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an artist, let's look at my stick figures, so. So yes, please encourage your community, share the events on your pages, let the community know that these meetings are happening. This is the best way for them to, know what's going on within the city, and if there's any, events or ideas that they have, that they're more than welcome to come and present them to us, and we'll see if it's how we can help them. We'll point them in the right direction. Yes. I'm hesitant to do the paid advertising because I don't
think it's that effective.
Yeah, I think we've done a lot of the footwork by word of mouth and just reaching out to those individuals we felt that have the passion for the city and want to see more cultural and arts and music. But a press release, maybe if the newspaper would run it.
The paid the paid advertisement is the way I learned about this.
I learned about it too, but the last couple we haven't had anybody else from the paid. It's all been word of mouth. So I'm hesitant.
Shared free on Facebook and
Oh, yeah.
we shared them on Starburns.
Oh, yeah, that's,
Maybe that seems like it'd be a
what Jamie was recommending.
Is there a requirement that the city post it? I mean, we can't just,
It's been
okay.
by the city before, and they had, Kathy did the paid advertisement to try to get people in.
But I mean, at minimum, wouldn't the city need to put it on their website?
I think it is on the website.
Okay. I just mean, we don't want to be perceived as, kind of going about it in a way that isn't equitable, that all citizens don't know about it and have a
Yeah.
chance to apply. So
That makes
that's
sense,
that's
yeah.
my,
Yeah, no, I think to me, I think I've seen it always set up on the city website as they're always accepting applications. So whenever there's a vacancy, then, we would reach out to those individuals who applied. It's just, I kind of want to save a little bit of money and put it towards maybe more of the, projects, as opposed to trying to recruit. And I think, yeah, well, yeah. Okay, so great. With that, let's go ahead and move on to the skateboard project. And so Patrick and Lisa, please take it away.
I don't have anything new to share.
What was,
You, Frederick?
I mean, the only thing I had was a potential logo, just to kind of discuss things. And then, did you have, you said you had notes about it from a group?
Yeah, I'm active with the
Information
group, through Barlow Bikes, but it just, I don't have anything as it relates to the Arts Commission and auction
Have they decided on the,
date.
date? Yeah, I know they were trying to figure to
Not
have
that-
it with the
not-
Citizens Day.
I haven't been told by Rick Scholl or anybody when that date is.
I talked with him at the last work session, and he said that he wanted to steer clear of the weekend of the 8th, and I guess the next one would be, because it's Friday, June 7th, I think, is the high school graduation. And so he wanted to steer clear of that weekend, which is actually the anniversary, actual anniversary date. And he said even the weekend following, he seemed to think that there would still be activities and school-related things. So he was more inclined to do it
Because I think the last day of school is going to be June 14th.
What were you just gonna say? More inclined to do it?
to, he was looking at, I want to say it's, let me get my calendar up. He said he was inclined to shoot for June 22nd, but he needed to talk to some of the groups that were gonna do, car shows because he wanted to combine it with the Citizens Day in the park.
So this has been 2 months that we haven't been given a date. From the first time it was discussed and agreed that it would happen, it's now 2 months that we've not been given a date. So I don't know what else to do. You know, with
Yeah.
that, because I
It's kinda hard to
just,
plan without a date.
Yeah, and then we don't have another meeting, official meeting until May. We could have a special meeting in April, but let me ask you two, is that gonna be conceivable to put something together? I know there was discussion in the past that we would work on some type of fundraiser, for them. Not
Mhm.
heading up a fundraiser, but creating something of artistic component. You were talking about getting the decks
Right.
and having artists
Mhm.
create the decks, excuse me.
Mhm.
And then we were also talking about maybe creating something that could be put close to the street to indicate that there is a skate park,
Mhm.
because not many of us knew that there was one. We can clearly and it's very visible see the dirt bike track because it's
Mhm.
right there, right when you enter the park. But
Mhm.
like I actually drove around and I'm like, oh, it's right there.
Mhm.
And so something to show the community that we have this really neat skate park that's been here for 20 years and we're trying to get together to repair it and fix it. So I don't know, I'm gonna leave it up to you guys to determine whether or not we continue to do something or.
Yeah, I think I was kind of in wait mode until we had the date, but
Mhm.
I think if we had the date today, we could definitely get something going.
I haven't made any more research about the skate deck auction concept.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting on the date for that part.
You were waiting on
Um,
the date, okay.
And then basically, I think the auction could be either a day of the event or a lead-in. It was just kind of up to the date and,
So let's
We don't
say.
have a lot.
yeah.
So let's say if they say June 22nd would work,
Mhm.
do you guys think it would be enough time to put something together?
If we still haven't ordered the decks, and then and once I have those, then we can hit the ground running on getting those painted now. Because that would give time to various artists.
I'm feeling less anxious about June because the people involved want to do fundraising through the summer.
Mhm.
And so it might be more interesting to do it at the end of summer when
Like in
they've
August?
had a lot of time to do their own buzz and they want to set up, like I mentioned last time, the 10x10 tents down at the first whatever's, the music, I can't even think
13
of what
nights.
day, yeah, 13
Yeah.
nights, and things like that, and see if they can get the buzz going that way.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I don't know, I'm a little bit nonplussed, sorry, I don't have it really together right now.
No, that's okay.
Wasn't there talk about doing it Citizens Day, though, in August?
Well, that's just it. Citizens Day is being discussed, and as of right now, for Margaret, they're looking at potentially June 22nd to do it. But I believe the mayor is checking in with some of the other
With the
groups and
events,
the
yeah.
car groups to make sure that it's not conflicting with another event.
Citizens Day had originally been in August.
Yes, and I think
17th.
when you guys came and talked about having a 20-year recognition of the park, I think he thought maybe it would be advantageous to move Citizens Day in the park to June, because I think one feature of it had been the car shows, all the, drive-ins that happen in conjunction with the park. And he had said that that's a busy time for those car groups, and so he thought maybe if they moved it to June, they might be more successful in attracting some of them, and and marry it with what you were planning. If you're not thinking that June is necessarily a date that you have to, stick with, they might, migrate back to August if they can get the car groups. I just don't.
The last time I spoke to the city council, I said, we will take any date. You tell us the date. and that's the date we'll take. I didn't I said, Bar, I'm not pushing on any particular time, just simply tell us the date.
Okay,
And
I'll
at
see
the
what
point
more I
tonight,
can,
That's what I said.
I'll see if I can't ask them to settle on a date.
One thing that Paul Barlow mentioned about the car shows in August at the Citizens Day is that all the people with the cars had cleared out by noon. I have never been there, but he said traditionally the cars are a big morning thing,
Yeah.
and then they're out of there by noon. And then the focus was for the skate park was going to be in the latter part of the day, going into the evening with the bands, because the bands, we've got bands ready to play. There are three bands
Yeah.
that want to play.
And those are
I've
really
even
different
listened
crowds.
to their music. What?
It's really two different crowds you got for the
Yeah,
events.
yeah,
So
which
there's no
makes it-
reason for them to be on the same day.
Well, actually, it's kind of cool with Citizens Day at the park, the
Mhm.
skate people and those bands and the youth that are interested in all that,
Mhm.
they're citizens at the park too,
Yeah.
and they're just a different demographic and a
Yeah.
different part of the day.
And we probably need to look at the sports schedule and make sure that the ball fields are,
It's only, yeah, the ball fields aren't
I
near so
mean,
beautiful.
parking could get to be a problem.
I can only make so many phone calls and go to so many meetings to ask. And then I just have to sit and wait. I don't know what else to do about that. So
Yeah, it's a lot of hurry up and wait.
So,
Okay, well, I think with Margaret, reaching out to the city council, I think maybe, and reminding them that you guys were open to any particular date, that you're not just set for June, considering, all the other activities that are gonna be going on at the same time, we should hopefully hear something more definitive within the next, couple weeks or so. Okay, good job, you guys. I know this one was a big one to take on, so.
And I don't see the,
Proud of you.
I don't see the budget. How much was it we had earmarked for the skateboard auction already?
Don't think we.
we didn't officially.
Was it, we already earmarked it like a few months ago, but we haven't really done anything.
We had budgeted that for this fiscal year, so to spend it by the end of June.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's not on here.
Just kind of, Patrick and I were going back and forth about the image that he created as a logo. And I thought that the skaters involved in this renovation group Facebook page had very interesting feedback about this,
Okay.
which surprised me, but I thought it was really cool. And that is that they felt like the figure should be a female.
Oh, I actually thought it was kind of androgynous the way I
With
depicted
the
with the
hair.
long hair.
For some reason, they just
They see it as male?
Even the guys were like, yeah, it should be a chick.
Okay.
So I just thought that was interesting. I want to throw
Mm.
that out at you. And then the other thing is, yeah, they just had some other little tidbits that I can
I
share
mean, how
with
do
you
you know
later.
that's not a female?
Well, I don't know.
That's cool though.
Do you guys think it's a girl or a guy?
No, cap.
It's a hip. Oh.
It's the baggy butt. That's the guy.
Oh, my God.
Anyway, it just kind of
Well,
tickled me.
the way I saw it was like, this is just an initial logo, and it would be, I forget what the term is exactly, but there's, where you have like, multiple logos, with different characters. So you could have a female image one, and you can also have a male image one. Where I could have another character in another version of
So
that.
you're talking about multiple logos as opposed to just that singular one?
Well, it would be maybe like another figure doing another trick or something around the 20. It's something to play with.
To start.
Yeah. I like it. Okay, thank you very much, you two. Let us know if you need any help whatsoever with any of this.
The only thing I just wanted to verify is like,
Yeah.
how do we order the deck so I can at least get that going?
You can do it with the, choice card.
Okay.
I feel like if you wanna send me a link,
Mm-hmm.
exactly what you want, I can order it, or you can, I don't know.
And then
time
you you had a potential price from Barlow, right, where they could order them wholesale?
Yeah, but Barlow's wholesale prices for more than
Online?
online prices.
Okay. Yeah, if you just, we can talk about because you found a better price than I did.
Well, Barlow, what they ordered is a higher quality deck
Yeah.
for skating, and what we found online was more, a lower quality skate deck, but perfectly great for art.
Yeah,
That's the deal.
yeah, that's basically it, would be just an art piece. It doesn't necessarily need to
Well, it's
be,
just a very mediocre board for sport.
yeah. Just as
Not
long as it's a good
unusable.
substrate for painting on. Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
Thank you, you guys. Appreciate the information. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the art inventory. You all should have the Excel list in front of you, and this is current, here we go. It's current as of April 2011, so we do need to do some updating. I would like to see about forming a subcommittee, so we could take on this project and take some photographs, add it to the list, and then we can provide Matt the information he needs so that he can move forward with creating the map. And then, of course, with the map, as we just previously discussed, we will go ahead and determine what art of importance that we would like to showcase on there. So it entices the tourists, people who visit us. So is there anybody who'd like to volunteer to be part of the subcommittee? Can I nominate myself to chair since I already? Okay. So I will chair the committee, and then who would like to volunteer? Carly? And then
I
anybody
can
else?
help as well.
Okay, fantastic. So between the three of us, we can, we'll set up a quickie meeting outside of this meeting, and then we can break down who's gonna take, excuse me, I'm tongue-tied right now, I don't know why. Just to kind of look at the pieces of art and see if there's any maintenance that needs to be done to them, any repairs, and then we'll take it from there. Okay. Letty, Carly, and Kim. Okay. I just thought about it. Will the three of us make a quorum? I'll be very honest, I'm not certain anymore because
Yeah, when we were going to do the interview.
okay.
I don't have to be a part
We
of it,
couldn't meet.
but we can all work on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we'll communicate via email.
Okay.
I'll take this half, you take this half. To make sure we're doing everything correct. Okay. So we're fantastic. Okay, then.
So it's missing the gateway projects.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
it's
isn't
2011.
updated. We have
Oh,
to update
okay.
it, yeah.
Okay, so that's the whole project is updating it.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
updating it, cataloging, photographs, and then,
Do we have
Descriptions.
the Excel sheet of this, or this digitally?
yes, we do.
Okay.
I just had Jamie, I
Oh,
asked
to
her
pr-
to print
okay.
this because they don't want to work for me at home.
Okay. I
So,
think
yeah.
you emailed it to me too, so.
Yes, Jamie
Okay.
did email it to all of us a
Okay.
couple
Oh,
of months
perfect.
ago, but I will go ahead after this meeting, I'll go ahead and send it just so it's fresh in your inbox.
Okay,
And then
perfect.
you don't have it, no, yeah, because it was emailed months ago. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to, I'm sorry, no, I think we did discuss that, the little libraries, did you want to include it with this conversation?
No.
Okay. So now, let's go ahead and move on to the then and now art display.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with this, but I received an email from Bonnie Wagoner.
Okay.
I believe she runs the Columbia Arts Guild.
Okay.
So she had been in contact with Jen last year, and she's not really sure what she's asking about, but she has some paintings of St. Helens
Okay.
that she's done with her group, and her intention was to hang them alongside some architectural drawings from the 1950s.
Okay.
So right now they're displayed in the courthouse, but I think she wants to bring it up with the commission to see if there might be any other areas we can display these or to move along with this project.
So
So
Let me
this
make sure
is,
I'm understanding. So
I can just pass this around. That's kind of the example of what she has. I told her that we would just bring it up in today's meeting.
Okay. I almost feel that simply because it is art, that is why she was given Jen's number to contact. But what she's wanting to do is she's just wanting to do a side-by-side and figure out where she can hang it.
That's
kind of the
that's what I
gist.
understood.
Yeah, which,
Does she wanna donate them to give ownership to?
I don't know, I don't
Mhm.
think so.
no. She's just simply wanting to, I believe if I'm reading this correctly, she is just wanting to display these older artistic renderings with newer ones. Yeah, but,
She's just taking the commission's support.
well, I think that's what we're trying to figure out. So she was gonna reach out to Jen, but for some reason that never occurred, so she's reaching out to Kim now. I would simply tell her we need more information from her. We need her to figure out what specifically her ask is from the commission so that we can get a better grasp and not be making assumptions such as I am. And then I think at that point, once she comes up with her why and her ask, we can determine whether or not this is something that the Arts Commission can help with. Because again, it just sounds like she's just looking for a place to hang stuff. That doesn't necessarily
Yeah, that's what
have to
and I
involve
had
us.
emailed her to reply to
Yeah.
clarify, and then she didn't know either. So,
Okay.
I'm wondering if this is something that Jen had asked her about that I'm not aware of.
Maybe I would suggest you reach out to
Jen,
Jen
yeah.
and see if she recalls this conversation and what was discussed at that point, and then we can take it from there as well.
Okay, sounds good.
So I would just simply, what was it, the lady, the woman's
Bonnie
name?
Wagoner, yeah.
I would just simply maybe have a phone conversation instead of having email.
Emails,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes email, we get lost in the communication, but simply say to her, are you wanting to hang them in a specific area where you don't have access to, that the ACC can give her, help support
Yeah,
that?
because I had
or-
replied and asked about her vision, but
Yeah.
but she said she didn't know. So,
Okay.
that's a good idea. I think I'll reach out to Jen to see if.
Yeah, get clarification
Yeah.
from her, and then just kind of guide Bonnie, just ask her questions, and maybe that'll help her figure out what she's wanting to do more specifically
Yeah.
for that
Um,
particular project.
While you're on that topic, the Arts Guild, Columbia Arts Guild meets at the library every Thursday morning at 10 o'clock in the auditorium. And their chair is Teresa Knight.
Okay.
The question I would ask about an exhibit like that is how close up do you have to view it? What size are the pieces and how much of the detail can you see at what distance? And the reason I suggest that is that in the auditorium right now, we have reproductions of World War I posters around the
I saw
perimeter, and they're hung up pretty high, and they're not, nobody would tamper with them at all because of, the accessibility is tough. You would have to climb up on the back of the auditorium chair to take them down. So, they're relatively secure, and the auditorium stays locked when it's not in use. So if there's something that could be viewed at a distance, they're bold enough and large enough, that might be a space, because the World War I posters have been up for almost a year or more. But I suspect sometimes that the detail is such,
That you would have to.
and the nameplates that you'd want to
Yeah.
put with it to say the year and everything would make that venue too far away. So, depends on what the value is, how secure they need to be. So there might be some, I don't know if that's an option or not, but
Okay.
we could certainly look into it if they're really at a loss for where to put them.
Okay.
Does the museum have located in displays? Because that seems like it would be best showcased in a
I think
museum
it might
type
be
setting.
there right now.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah.
You said the courthouse, right?
A gallery in the courthouse.
So that, yeah, I guess that's kind of.
Yeah, I'll have to find it to contact
Yeah.
you.
Mhm.
Okay, and then just keep us updated. Does anybody have any other questions regarding this particular project, or? Okay. All right, now we're gonna tackle this bad boy, trash can painting. So we are in March, and this is traditionally handled in July, and so I can honestly say we are a little bit behind, but I'm confident that if we decide we want to move forward with this, we can. I know there has been conversation back and forth as to whether or not the commission would like to continue doing this particular project. A couple of the reasons the commission would like to pass this along is that it is a little strenuous. The barrels, they're not fun. In fact, I did slice my hand my finger last year. That was fun. Getting them clean, making sure that, because some barrels we do get where the top is nice and smooth, and then there's others where we have to do them ourselves. There's also the discussion of we have a lot. And so last year, Jen and Lisa did a fabulous job of trying to come up with a new system so that way we weren't having to come up with as many. Because I know that they're trying to use them everywhere and anywhere, but they do still have a bunch that are in storage somewhere. The biggest pro that I can think of to continue with this is that this is one of the main projects that the Arts Commission puts on there. This happens during 4th of July, and so the community is basically expecting it. And so I'd hate to pull it out from under them. And so we need to decide if we're going to do this, and we need to get going now. If we decide we don't want to do this, then we need to find, in my opinion, we need to find a substitute, something in its place that we can continue to do during 4th of
Yeah.
July.
I think that just seeing that the city has so many trash cans, and last time you had even spoken to Thad, right, or something, to see that there's an abundance of them, I think that we should do something else. So, and I had brought up that the high school is developing those 2 libraries that are unfinished. So I thought we might be able to do that for a summer. I definitely think we need to do something. And then I also wanted to bring up an alternative idea, like the gazebos in the park. Maybe we could paint like boards that go in the ceilings or something. Just, you know, it was suggested picnic tables last time. So I think that just with the abundance of trash cans, we should do something else.
Any other thoughts, suggestions, recommendations?
I mean, there has to be a certain number of them to make it practical, since it is a large community event and a lot of people want to participate, so there have to be, I like the idea of doing the little libraries, but I think there's only 2, that's going to be way too much community into all the paint, so maybe that's a reward.
Yeah,
to
it
work
could
on
be a
that if they
smaller event.
win
Yeah.
the competition, they're voted the best, and they get to paint that, or I don't know.
So
That could be factored in.
Traditionally, the way that the trash can competition has worked is we send out their application process, and so they have to submit their artwork prior.
And
So
then
that
we
way-
approve it the meeting
Mhm.
before.
We approve it, so that way we make sure that it's following certain guidelines. And then once we get the approved artwork done, then we have them come in like 7 o'clock in the morning, right? I mean,
And
you
we're
guys
there
were out
all
there,
day.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
How many trash cans were done this year?
I think last year we had 12.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
I think we were
would
talking
you-
at least going down to like 8 or something.
I was-
Yeah, there was
that
more
was-
talk about dwindling it
I was
down.
gonna say, would you be trying to grow, or would you be trying to cut it down?
Cut it down. So again, the question we have to answer first is, do we want to continue with the trash can competition? If yes, then we need to find a way to dwindle it down. I know they dwindled it a lot last year. They dwindled it, I mean, I honestly would say we would have to dwindle it some more. And then if we say, no, we don't want to do the trash can competition, again, we have to find a
Something
substitute.
else to substitute.
Can go definitely just that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And I don't know that the event coordinator is doing as many events and attractions. So on the 4th of July, there's a ton of options and things for people to do, for the citizens to do. So it doesn't necessarily need to be as big and time consuming, unless that's what you want to do, because this is your volunteer time, it's your holiday with your families too. So just keep that in mind.
Even if we just wanted to do maybe some kind of interactive project outside of that.
Yeah.
Jamie makes an interesting point. I remember someone saying that at the 4th of July, people used to just come down and spread out their blanket and wait all day in order to mark their spot for the fireworks, but there wasn't anything to do. And that's not true anymore.
Now there's activities all day, so.
Yep. Well, so how was that at the walking event that Shauna put on through the rec center, the rec program?
What was it, it was like a quarter K or something? Yeah.
Underachiever. Quarter.
Well, Lisa, you inventoried all the cans, right?
Yep.
And there were just many.
Many that were also rusted out in the bottom.
Right, but there were still, I thought, a lot that were,
They could switch out the ones already rusted.
There's a lot of cans that need to go, be taken to the dump, in my opinion, and there's probably a total of 24, probably 2 years worth of good-looking cans.
Like I
That
know,
are in
Stay that nice
storage,
for
yeah.
that long.
Yeah.
and I know at the food pod that's over there by Barlow Bikes, they actually are flipped over. They actually used some of the trash cans, flipped them over to use them as like parking guards, so they wouldn't go over wherever.
Yeah, it's like a little
Yeah.
guide.
Mhm. So they're not just using them as trash cans. They're trying to find whatever they can to to use them. So.
Are there any events that we could collaborate or participate in that someone else is leading that would allow?
I'll be honest with you, I don't even know what's out there yet. Yeah, I don't know when the event planner will be putting out any information for 4th of July. And as far as I know, Shauna hasn't come up with anything for 4th of July through the rec program yet, except I think the underachiever, I asked about that and they said, I think that's gonna stick. But that's
The cornhole tournament again.
the cornhole tournament.
Yeah, and last year they then had the games in the courtyard for kids and families to go play and use their drones, and so it might be something smaller.
So yeah, so we gotta make a decision, guys.
I don't think there should be more trash cans, but there is an option for something else.
Yeah.
Now, to address the picnic table that was suggested, that has been brought up to us a couple different times, the only thing is that you can't use the picnic tables the day of, because people are using them,
It would have to be
obviously.
like a couple
Mhm.
weeks ahead.
Yep,
And what about the idea of the boards and the ceiling under the gazebos? So, because that's open space too, that we could just, that's a very inexpensive project. It's easy to manage. And we could have people painting these boards and then to put up there afterwards. So,
are you talking about the one where the band plays?
no, just gazebos in the park. So,
Oh,
you know, when
different
you look up,
gazebos.
yeah,
Okay.
to have boards painted under there.
Oh, I
I've
like
like
that.
Look into how to what the logistics would be.
Yeah.
And then maybe could the library be kind of rolled in like all of it?
That's what I was originally thinking too, because
Yeah.
it's something new that would be painted. They would have artistic elements to them, and then
So people are
and we
having
could
to come
support
in.
more people coming in. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it could be signed or
Mhm.
what have you.
How, okay, so.
So would we take down the boards that are
I
up
think
there?
you would just. I don't know about. I would have to find out the logistics. I am planning to go to the next Parks Commission meeting, so
Okay.
that's something that I
Okay.
could bring up. And
So then let me go ahead and put this out there to you guys, since, we are, so it sounds like we're going to say goodbye to the trash can painting contest.
At least like for a moratorium on it for a little bit while we have a large inventory.
It's on hiatus.
Hiatus is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
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 It's on hiatus.
Yeah.
Okay, so in lieu of the trash can painting contest for this year, we are going to look into doing the panels. Now, I know you suggested it, but I don't want to put it on you. So I'm just gonna ask, is there anybody who would like to head that project?
Can we reverse back and can I throw out a possibility also? We have talked before about chain link fence art.
Oh, on the one at the waterfront?
Yeah, and if everyone's down there and we've got the ugly chain link fence, is there some kind of day of activity that we can do?
Yeah.
That would be that the community, say, this is boring, but I'll just say it's, red, white, and blue, and then everyone ties
It's
a
the ribbons
color
that you
on,
tie on the-
yeah, and make some image, and so that everyone participates, and you can participate multiple times, or, I don't know.
Or it'd almost be like
Just throwing
a-
that out, because we've talked about chain link fence before.
Like a
And-
paint by number kind of pattern that they
But then I
all
thought
be.
that got brought up that should go under the rec program, like that should be tossed out. It was too simple of a project for the ACC.
Well, we're just talking about a day of,
Like,
I don't know.
do it in the morning, yeah.
I'm just throwing it out, it's just a fun activity, if,
It'd be simple enough. I
Could we
mean,
do both?
There's nothing wrong with being simple. I do remember.
Because
we
that one
talked
doesn't
about that.
require a lot of people like overseeing it. They would just kind of go there and tie something.
Well, I
it
think,
just has to be monitored, I guess.
yeah, if we're doing the pattern though, we'd have to, like, have someone there to, like, guide on like where it goes. And,
Would that just be a temporary,
well, that fence is technically temporary
the fences?
for a
I was
week.
thinking something that would last and hold its color would be ideal, if we would buy the waterfront until, if the fence is supposed to be removed, something that would last the life the fence would be.
Okay, which area of the fence are you guys talking about? Let me,
Maybe facing the, like, the play structure.
The one like
Yeah.
in between the walkway and the play
Yeah.
structure.
that makes sense, okay.
From a sustainability point of view.
I was thinking it'd be better to have it be something compostable.
Yeah, yes. even if-
Oh, yeah.
So that way if any animals
Pieces
or
come
something
off,
chewed off
yeah.
on it, then it would at least not be around forever.
I mean,
Um,
well, because you don't want them to fade and then start to look left, because then the question you have to ask is, okay, whose responsibility is it to take care of that? I
Mhm.
mean, say that word again.
Compost.
Compostable?
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is why we're a team, you guys. Is great because it'll just decompose on its own, and then we don't really necessarily have to worry about
Yeah,
it.
because the fence is
Yeah,
eventually gonna
because
disappear.
I've driven by fences where they've had their little tied ribbon art project, and, they deteriorate, but then it looks really, really bad.
Well,
Mhm.
what
And
if we,
so-
all we care about is getting it to, August 4th, and then
And then we would
we
remove
go
it.
and remove it?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, we
it's
should
just a
have
summer
to-
thing, yeah,
yeah.
so it wouldn't
I
have
would
to,
still move for something that is compostable, or after it's been removed, it can be
Yeah.
disposed of in a
What about fabric?
sustainable way. Depending on the fabric, we're talking natural fibers and
yeah, it'd
things
be like
that,
cotton
it
or
could
Cotton
something.
fabric,
Yeah.
strips?
that could be doable, it can be pricey,
And if then,
We could
instead of
look
a
into it.
pattern, it could be people draw something on a little piece of fabric and tie it up. Just like write something on there, like write your message on like what you're,
Mhm. Black shark.
kinda like a Thanksgiving thing, so you write what you're thankful for, but
Mm-hmm.
something more 4th of July oriented.
Mhm.
That's just a community activity.
how to find fabric and.
Okay, so once again, who would like to, first we need to decide what we're gonna do, it sounds
Mhm.
like, we're still needing to. So do you wanna do the panels, or do you wanna do the chain link fence, or did someone pop up with another idea while we were talking?
Or maybe we can look into the logistics of both. And
Yeah.
That's what I was.
I would look in the
Okay.
logistics, but we still have time,
Yeah,
And
Well,
we don't
so
have a
we
meeting
may-
next month.
no,
right?
we don't.
So it would be,
So it may have been enough time to
Yeah.
decide on what you wanna do, and then just keep in mind, when you're looking at the logistics, having a poster design, so we can print it out like we did with the trash campaign,
Mhm.
just to spread that awareness.
mhm.
Yeah.
And then plan, once it's decided, this is what we're gonna do, just get it to the county events, so that can get included in whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
Just keep that on the forefront.
So instead of calling it the trash can competition at this point, how about we just call it the 4th of July event? Well, no, I
Yeah.
don't want to say an event, but the 4th of July
something art.
Activity.
Art activity,
Yeah.
there you go, keep it simple.
I'll think of something creative too.
That's just like an earmark for it.
Yeah.
So, just so I'm being respectful for your guys' volunteering time, who would like to head up the ACC 4th of July activity?
I think it'll depend on what we actually do. Did you want to look at the logistics or on the fabric thing?
No, I will help with that a little bit, but I want to focus on the skate park
Mhm.
events, because I will be stretched thin then.
That's
I
what
mean,
I
I
was
can head it up, but I would appreciate help because I'm not familiar with like, going to whoever it is I need to talk about
So,
the chain link or
then
the
you
gazebo or.
could create a subcommittee.
Yeah.
And so if anybody wants to be part of the subcommittee, just again, you have to be careful with the meetings. You can meet with them individually,
Okay.
just try not to be more than 2. And then you should be able to communicate via email when necessary as well, kind of like what we're going to do for the mapping inventory.
Okay, so, then how is that done? I just say I want to form a subcommittee and go from there?
Yep,
Mhm.
okay, and
Well,
then if
then-
anybody would like to be a
Yeah.
part of the subcommittee,
And then, of course, I will, yeah.
Okay. So,
and then I'll be
and then next
background
steps for
support.
that would be
Yeah.
that I would set up a time to talk about.
Yeah, or we
Yeah.
can just communicate by
Yeah.
email for
Okay.
now, so.
Okay, so we got that rocking and rolling.
And if we don't do the chain link things for 4th of July, we can also make that as part of the skate park day.
On
So-
that chain link behind there,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it'd be kind of cool if people like
Mhm.
drew something or wrote something on there, then it had like a bunch of stuff.
If it went well at 4th of July and then the skate park event was later, maybe
Mhm.
you could just get people that were excited about that to come out and then everybody
Yeah.
Yeah.
gets more people involved.
The ripple effect. Okay, so we are almost done, you guys. Okay, so the Arts and, I swear, I think I renamed it. The Arts and Conversation, the bi-monthly community event. I apologize, I have not had a chance to set that up. I do want to ask to have a subcommittee to help me. So is there anybody who would like to help me out with that? So, this one was started by Jen last year as a way to reach out to the community. One of the things that we heard when she did a big like survey and everything was that they didn't know when things were happening, like they weren't aware of how the process worked and about the ACC.
And I want to be a part of this then.
Okay, there you go. So you and I will, offline, we'll set the schedule sometime. Okay. With that being said, is there any community news?
Are there any meetings coming up for the Barlow?
They, as of this morning, no, there was just, they want to meet this week, but they didn't have a meeting time. I
Okay.
guess just, just for your own interest, maybe, they did repair work on the skate park yesterday and today.
What kind
Much
of
highly
repair work?
criticized by the kids
Oh, was
and
it?
myself.
Was it just some surfacing or?
A surfacing and concrete work by people that call skateboards toys because they don't know that they're skateboards. I don't know. It's not a company that generally works on skate parks. So I'm just crossing my fingers. The owner says that he hopes that it might last a year. And it's $4,800.
Oh, wow.
Any other community
Sorry to be a
news?
downer.
Margaret, does the library have anything coming up?
Yes, we do. It goes under the culture category and not the art, but you may have seen an article in the Spotlight recently, and there should be one in the Chronicle tomorrow about Columbia County Reads. This year we're featuring 2 authors, Gregory Noakes and Phil Margolin, and they have each written a book about a particular episode in the history of Oregon that has to do with slavery. And One is a nonfiction account of actual events that took place, and then the other one is a fictional story that was inspired by the true story. But we felt like it would illuminate a portion of Oregon's history that a lot of people are not familiar with. People don't think of Oregon as being a slaveholding state, but it was, not on a large scale, but nevertheless it was. And in the real story, a couple comes to Oregon with the understanding that they will work for a period of time for their slaveholder and then be given their freedom. And when that time came, they did gain their freedom, but he kept their children. And so the father hired an attorney and took him to court and won their freedom. So it's an amazing story. But the fictional story takes place in Portland in the 1800s, and it reads like the Wild West. It's a real gripping page turner. You think you've got crooked sheriffs and the whole bit. I mean, it's really, it's a gripping read. I won't say it's a happy read, but it's a pretty gripping read. And one of the central characters is a real wide-eyed young attorney who is hired by the father. And in the fictional story, it's a father and his daughter is kept by the slaveholder. But in any event, we have 4 libraries that are going to host the 2 authors. St. Helens will kick off on April 25th. That's a Thursday night. The next night, it'll be in Vernonia. And then on the Saturday immediately following, the authors will be at Scappoose in the afternoon and Clatskanie at the Cultural Center Saturday night. The Museum Association is going to feature some pictures from that same period of time. Columbia County was not a slaveholding county, but we're going to try to get an idea of what Columbia County was like at the same period in time that this story took place in Oregon. We got a Cultural Coalition grant for this, and so it's the first time I think we've hosted 2 authors, and the 2 of them I saw the 2 of them together at the Oregon Historical Society last summer. They were the featured books and authors for their book club, and so I decided to go and see what it was like. And then the group of library directors from all over the county came together, and we looked at different options and settled on this selection. So I think we thought that having a nonfiction and a fiction book would kind of open it up to different kinds of readers. Some people like facts and other people like entertainment, and so we thought this would give them both. I invite you to come by the library and check out your copy and get started reading. The authors will sign their books and that evening, and I think it'll be an enlightening evening, and we hope that it'll spark some discussion and some awareness about the history of Oregon. So that's all I have.
That's great. Thank you, Margaret. Anybody else? The only community event I have is Cycle Columbia County. I'm putting on the 4th annual Columbia Century Challenge, June 15th. We're going to start at Clatskanie this year. So let all your cyclist friends know, and if you know any businesses who'd like to get involved, let me know. And yeah, we're excited for it here. Okay. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to add in regards to projects or anything? No. Okay, so I'm like, wait, do I have to announce? Do we have to vote or do something?
I saw that on the city